Hello, fellow YouTubers. So today we're going to get into basically Game Stream 1's video, what's considered retro gaming. We're going to get into 15 games, 15 systems. We're going to talk about some milestones out there and just all kinds of things today. And of course, like always, I will end with, of course, a homebrew game at the very end. So let's get started with everything today, shall we?
Milestones in the community.
And the first thing today, we're going to get into milestones really quickly. So, the first milestone is from Spider1A, Turbo Views Part 1, Halfway Retrospective / Revisit 10K Sub Special. So, Spider1A is halfway through his Turbo Views, halfway through his TurboGrafx 16 collection. That is what his series has always been about. That is his passion, the TurboGrafx 16. And in this revisit video, he goes back and plays 3 games he didn't talk about very well, or review very well, and then he shows the games he gave 5 stars to. So, congratulations to him for getting to 10,000 subscribers, and it was really fun to see someone go back and play the 3 games he didn't like, see what he thinks about it now, and a retrospective over what he's done so far. The next one is from Jack-UltraGamer, 5,000 subscriber special montage, best of Jack-UltraGamer. So if you want to see a montage of stuff, what he's done, he's basically a Let's Play channel. Definitely go check it out. And our last milestone, out of the many I could have chose out of the community, is from R.D. Allen, 1,000 subscriber special, Spring Hill Valley Episode 1. So he plays only basically farming simulators on his channel. Farming Simulator 2013, Farming Simulator 2014, and this is showing the Spring Hill Valley, which I guess everybody's playing on the game right now. So if you're interested in checking out what that game looks like, go check it out. So let's get into the other videos to check out. And the
channels to check out. What? You don't like new stuff?
First one is from Gamester81. What's considered retro gaming? Now the point of this video is he's talking about what do you consider, what consoles do you consider retro? Like how far back do you go? Do you consider those games retro? I always have a rule of thumb. I go 2 generations back. Obviously it's not the current generation, and to me it can't be the last generation because there's still games being made for the PS3 and the 360. So I go 2 generations back. So the GameCube, the Xbox, the Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, all that stuff is retro to me. Now being around, since the 2600 was out, at times you do muddle things. Like I easily consider a Nintendo, a Super Nintendo much more retro, and sometimes in my mind I still have times that it's hard to fathom like a PlayStation 2 is retro or a PlayStation 1. Because to me, it seems like it hasn't been that long ago they were out, but it has been. So that's always my rule of thumb when I come to retro gaming. So what is yours? What do you consider retro? What systems do you consider retro? And I think everybody's answer is different, depending on when they got into gaming, how long they've been gaming. So our next video is from Narox. It is a new game series he started, and he's put a lot of these out rather quickly. Name that video game. I'm just going to shout out episode number 29. He's done a lot, and basically you can tell what system it's for because every thumbnail shows the system. So if it's TurboGrafx 16, you'll see a TurboGrafx 16. Super Nintendo, so on and so forth. But it is fun to listen to the music and try to figure out, without reading the comments, what game that music is to, especially if you love that certain system. And next up is a channel called GirlfriendVS Diddy Kong Racing Episode 6. So the point of the GirlfriendVS episodes is basically, since his girlfriend doesn't play video games, to get her to play video games and to try to actually get her to like the video games. And in this case, Diddy Kong Racing, she actually loves the game. And it's really fun to see someone who's never played that game actually play it. And do well, by the way. Diddy Kong Racing is definitely a good game. It's fun videos to watch. The banter between both of them as they're racing and everything else. So definitely give it a try. And our next one is from 8-Bit Eric, Sega Genesis Shmups. Now, the Sega Genesis had a lot of shmups. In this video, he shows some of his favorites. He did leave out a few that are my personal favorites, but he does, if you're someone who's like collecting for Genesis or like shmups and maybe don't have that many on Genesis, definitely check out his video for ideals. Obviously, Musha would be the most expensive game out of this video, and it is one of the rarest Genesis games price-wise out there, but all the rest are pretty decently affordable, so definitely check it out if you're interested in that. And next up is a video from Magus. Magus and Happy Council Gamer look back. So this is the 4th episode of the series, the second guest he's ever had, where basically he's going back and he's looking at the early years of YouTube and like what was going on in YouTube, and like when Happy Council Gamer talk about like what happened earlier in their videos. If you want to go back and listen to talk about the earlier days in the community and YouTube, definitely go check it out. It is fun to hear about the older times. If you were around when, you know, back 2008, 2009, the community was much different than it is today. But it's always fun to listen and go back. And the next one is from Woodland37. 15 systems, 15 favorite games, what's yours? Now, I'm only going to go with the systems I own, and it's not 15. And I picked out one game on each system that is my favorite. I was thinking, what are some of my favorite games on these systems? And I'll start off with the first console I ever had, the Atari 2600, and my favorite game, and still is on that system, is Asteroids. I just love that game. You know, being, you know, sitting there. I always tried to stay in the middle of the screen and shoot the asteroids, because once I started moving, I eventually just got so out of control or so disoriented over time that I eventually would die. But it's still my favorite game on that system, even when I put it into this day. On the Nintendo Entertainment System, I try to not pick like the default answer, like, even though I love Super Mario Bros. 3, when I look at that system, and the other game I used to play all the time, where I was just sitting there, had nothing to do, was bored, was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I played that game so many times, and yet only beat Mike Tyson a couple of times playing that game, because when you got to Mike Tyson, if you were off just a little bit, he would pummel you, and your match was over. You had to be perfect. If you were made mistakes, he would punish you on it, and that's what made that game so challenging. But it had a bunch of fun, different characters and stereotypes. The Super Nintendo, Gradius 3, one of my favorite games on that system. I love that shmup. I love the arcade game of Gradius, and so that's why I love that one. On the N64, Cruisin' USA and the Cruisin' series were my favorite games on that system. That they were just big, like, arcade fun games with like a bunch of stuff going on, you know, a train's going by, or don't get across the track before the train comes. Just that stuff going on while you're racing and stuff. Just that's what I always loved about those games. So for me, it's Cruisin' USA. And then the PlayStation 1, I picked Twisted Metal 3 because I originally, when I got a PlayStation 1, I bought Twisted Metal 2, and shortly after I got it, I believe 3 came out. And I played the heck out of 3 and loved that game, so I love that car combat game, though I never beat the game in any way. On the PlayStation 2, it's Jax 3. I loved Jax and Dexter series, and the third one was just an equivalent to me, just, you know, a building of that series. I played that game from beginning to end nonstop. I had a lot of fun. It's funny how the series went from a platformer to basically an open world platformer in a way, but absolutely love Jax 3. On the Genesis, it has to be Shining Force 2. I was so excited seeing that game in magazines, and then seeing the like cartoon and the animation of it, and then playing it and seeing that cartoon animation in the game. I really never seen anything like that at that point, and loved that game and played that game all the way to the end to beat it. Now, I bought my Dreamcast is a little different for a system because I actually bought the Dreamcast for a sport game. I was big in the NFL at the time, and I bought Dreamcast for basically the NFL 2K series, and played those games online, and had a lot of fun playing it online. Had a lot of fun playing them, That was the reason I bought that system, and I had a lot of fun playing those games. Now, the DS was a simple choice, because the DS is what got me back into last generation gaming, and the game that did that was New Super Mario Brothers. To have a new Super Mario Brothers game come out after, to me, we considered a long time, to me, a traditional two-side game. Again, I did not have a GameCube, so I did not play any GameCube games that whole generation, and that was the game that made me buy a DS, and absolutely loved that game. Now, my 3DS and my Wii U, it's the same game with a different number. So on my 3DS, it's Mario Kart 7, and on my Wii U, it's Mario Kart 8. 7 is such, to me, a perfect handheld racing game. It's fun to play online. No latency when I played it online. Compared to the Wii version, which I just didn't like the motion control on it. And then, of course, the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8 is awesome. Again, we've been playing it every day. I played that game again tonight. I can't wait for the DLC on August 27th for that game. Just had a lot of fun. So that's my answer to that. So I think everybody has a bunch of different systems. They may not even own. Like, I love the Neo Geo, though I never owned one, and played some of the games, but never actually played the games on that system. But I think a lot of people have a favorite system. I think a lot of people have favorite games that are not necessarily the normal ones that people say, and that's always the fun ones to hear about. So, one last video for this community video for you guys, and it is from Elysian Shadows. Elysian Shadows Kickstarter. Now, Elysian Shadows is basically a 16-bit like RPG. I would say 16-bit like style, modernized. This is coming out for the PC, the Mac, the Linux, and the Dreamcast. Depending on which one you donate to, you can get the Dreamcast version of the game. So if you're looking for a new RPG for your Dreamcast, go to the Kickstarter, donate. Right now, when I saw it was at $85,000 of their $150,000 goal. They have a lot of time to go yet, so hopefully this game gets funded. It looks really awesome. Definitely check out the trailer below. So guys, like always, thanks for watching a community video. I have to lift up the laptop so I can shut the video off. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys in another community video next week. Later.